Yo, I'm a baddie daddy in the gym on the live. Pushing heavy weights, man, makes me feel alive. Get home from a long day at work just to see the smile on the kids as they go berserk. Can't wait to catch a cold one with the bro. Shooting the shit and prepping for the show. Counting down the days for the weekend just to get no sleep and then do it all again.
All right. Here we are. Baddie Daddy episode 12, 13. We don't know at this point, but how we doing, man?
Good, brother.
Good. You got Kevin Pruitt here, Taylor McCullough, a.k.a. Big Husky.
Big Husky.
And then we got Craig Sumbler here. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yep. So we got Craig here. You know, we'll get into kind of some of the big thing I think you want to talk about. But, you know, just kind of introduce yourself, and then we kind of go into our history and how you may or may not have ruined my baseball career, but, you know, that's debatable.
You're not the only one. I can assure you there's been many. There's been many. I don't know if I've ruined them, but I think there's been a few that I've second-guessed coming to practices every now and then for sure. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me. You know, I've known Taylor for a long time, I think since, fifth grade?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We go back a little bit. I kind of, followed Taylor, obviously, from coaching him in baseball, which I'm sure we'll get into some of those stories, but coaching Taylor, in baseball, and then kind of following him through his high school career, middle school, high school, all the way through, obviously, the New England Patriots stuff. So, it's been good to rekindle kind of that relationship. I kind of got kind of far away there for a little bit, but since I've seen you in Midlothian hanging out, man, we've kind of rekindled that deal. So it's been nice to get back. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's kind of funny. You talk about rekindling, but it's like when I saw you, I knew immediately who you were. I was like, man, it's been so long. And like, it's funny, like the people in your younger years that have like an influence or an impact on you, that like, regardless of where you are, like you're going to see them like, hey man, how are you? How you been? And just catch up right where you left off, if you will. A little different, you were feeding me water and, nachos in the dugout. And now I'm drinking beer with you and bullshitting. So it's a little bit different.
No doubt. I pulled out I saw a team picture. I can't remember how long ago it was, but from that little Rattlers team, I think y'all were in the 5th grade, and saw a picture, and it was right when my son was born, right around that time, my oldest. And I remember looking at it and going, man, where'd that guy go? That young goatee with brown hair, and, here I am now, gray and 46 years old, about to turn 47, and you guys are all grown up. So
yeah, but also you were a little stout thing back in the day. Like you were
try to be.
You're still a little sawed off now, but
try to be, man. You got to do funny things like put tattoos on your arms and stuff to make you look like you're still cool. I ain't that cool, man. I just try to be every now and then, especially at 46. It gets harder, man. Everything gets a little harder. We were talking about your legs hurting the other day on the other podcast. I was like, man, you have no idea. No idea.
Well, so with the Baddie Daddy football going on right now, we're playing a flag football league.
I see it.
And we're 5-0. But this dude right here is out for the season.
What?
He tore both calf muscles.
No shot.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I guess New England Patriots aren't calling anytime soon. Then.
we must have saw something.
Well, they saw a lot back then, man. That was a different era, man. I mean, y'all were, remember coming to watch you guys play in high school, and I thought, man, these guys have gotten so much better than I can ever remember. I remember going into football season thinking we were so good, and we were terrible. I think we lost pretty much every game my junior and senior year, but going in every year, we thought we were going to win state.
Yeah.
And then finally, you guys with the Red Oak team finally come back, and we're actually good at some point. So it was nice to kind of see that.
One of my favorite memories just about that was when we went and played playoffs, and then, fans, or I say fans, but like local townsmen were in town, like hooping and hollering. We won a playoff game. And then like when we played in Jerry's World, the old Jerry's World, restaurants and stores were shut down. We had that whole sideline packed. It was like something off the movie Friday Night Lights.
Oh, of course.
And it was crazy the amount of energy and support like Red Oak had in that moment for our era. Like it was awesome to experience that.
So from a coach perspective, and we'll get to you coaching Taylor, but did you have kids that you were coaching around Taylor's age, or were you just in love with the baseball game and you're like, dude, I got to be impactful to this generation as much as I can, so let me get involved?
Yeah, so we had a mutual friend, a mutual family that last name were the Adalots. I know
Yeah.
it sounds kind of funny, but
Yeah.
Jason was the head coach, and he didn't know I was friends with Jason's brother Doug in high school, and just being a baseball guy I was at the time, I just had gotten back from the Marine Corps, and I was looking to get back into the game, and that was kind of my way to get back. And he was asking if I would be interested in coaching Trevor's team, which was his son, right?
Sure.
So I said, yeah, man, that'd be awesome. I'd love to come in and help. And needless to say, did I know I was going to pretty much take over the whole team? No, not at that point, and take over every coaching duty that had to go with it, which is where, obviously Taylor came in. But yeah, I mean, it was just, that was my way to get back in the game. Like I said, my oldest was just born then, and that was 2001 when I was coaching them. I think it was 2 seasons. I think I ended up coaching them, but yeah, I was back in 2001. So they were 5th, 6th grade. Yeah. But it was fun to get back in the game. I mean, the uniforms were terrible, the fields were terrible. So, but I didn't really care at that point. It was just about getting back in the game.
And I just got to shout out Jason Ate a lot. He's a close family friend, man. I've known him majority of my life. I love him. Like, he's my own stepdad. Like, him and Joe were, hand in hand. And I mean, he was around our family so much because of that friendship and y'all's camaraderie, So, Jason, if you're watching, love you, man. I like the wood carvings you do. We're going to try and get you to do like a little sign for us here, but just want to let you know I love and appreciate you. So
it's funny you say that, because I've been messaging him on Facebook about wanting one of those Indians that he does, just for the house to have. And but they were a huge part of my family for a long time. And I love Jason, Trevor, that whole family, Doug, that whole family's just been, and were huge for me back in those days. And, you distance obviously over the years, but we see each other every now and then, and it's like nothing ever went away. We just still have that great relationship. And like I say, still talk every now and then, but they were a huge part of my family as well.
Jason may be one of the best storytellers and funniest, most genuine person I've ever met.
Absolutely.
Like, he tells a story and you're in it and you laugh, and he'll just throw a one-liner out there. It's just,
I can't imagine with him having grandkids now what those one-liners are. I mean, they've got to be incredible at this point. I don't get to hang around them, but when it was the beer drinking days after, having games, and it was me, him, and Billy Ray, which I used to call Joe Billy Ray because he had that long hair. And, so I always called him Billy Ray, but we had a good time together. It was just drank beer and told stories, and he was always the best at it for sure.
Yeah. But so you said you coach. How many kids do you have?
So I have 2 kids. I have a 20, I guess he's about to be 25, and then I have a daughter that's 19, she'll be 20 in October. So I do have a fiance named Katie. She has a son named Rylan, which he's 20. He plays baseball at Odessa College. Mm-hmm. And my oldest son played at Oklahoma State, transferred to UTA. He just finished up. And then my daughter's here in cosmetology school in Waxahachie. So it's been a good ride. Now we don't have any kids at the house, but we've got 5 dogs, so it's pretty much the same thing.
So y'all plan on trying for that 5th kid, or
negative? Absolutely not. That actually, it would be 4, but we're definitely not going to do that at 46 years old. Okay. Let's scrap
all the stars
that
are
deal.
doing it, man.
No, not this star. And, I mean, heck, if I could even call myself a star, I'd be happy. But I'll take the career I had and be happy with it. So,
yeah. So what talk about your career a little bit, your background, your athletic background. Yeah. Obviously, you're big into baseball.
Yep. I obviously went to Red Oak High School. Where you guys did 10 years prior, of course. But I, played football and baseball there. And, played baseball as a freshman, all the way through my senior year in baseball. And then football, moved on to varsity when I was a sophomore in high school. I felt like I had a good career in both. And baseball was always kind of my love. It was just that thing from a young age where I felt like I just had it figured out, So, when football was over with, I felt like I was recruited pretty highly in both. And I chose the baseball route. Because I didn't want to go back to school. And at that point, professional baseball was in my future. Unfortunately, due to injuries and stuff, it wasn't as bright as I thought it would be. Played some independent ball out of high school, and I couldn't figure it out. To be honest with you, coming off an injury, man, to tell you the truth, I couldn't hit. I got to professional baseball, couldn't hit a baseball, and then decided I was going to. Actually, I couldn't decide what the hell I was going to do. So my dad really decided for me what I was going to do, which was go to the military. So, which I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Well, about 5 days later, I was signed up to go to the Marine Corps. So went to the Marine Corps, was a flight mechanic on Huey helicopters. So I flew in Hueys for a few years and then got kind of burnt out, man. I decided to hang it up and got back to the real world, and baseball called, man. So, I was doing odds and end jobs. I think I worked rolling beer for the Coors truck, at nighttime, and taking kegs to every bar around Dallas-Fort Worth. And, that didn't work out. Luckily, I had a family member that took me in and started teaching me the collision business. So I've been in that business my whole life, whether it be on the insurance side, in the shop, whatever it may be. But baseball was always there along the way. I think when my son got old enough, 3, 4 years old, he started playing ball, and, I just kind of picked it up, and we had one of the most elite teams growing up in the country. We won a national championship at the highest level you can at that age. And I started my first job back in baseball was with Bishop Dunn High School. Actually, it was with the Grand Prairie Air Hogs. I went into professional baseball with them. Was a hitting coach with Grand Prairie Air Hogs. Left there, took about a year off, and then I went over to Texas Wesleyan College and was a first base catching coach there at Texas Wesleyan. And I take that back, but in between those, I was the head coach at Bishop Dunn High School and did that for a little bit. It wasn't something, they kind of cut our budget. So I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'd go to college and do my thing there. And it was fun, man. But I got to 2020 and my oldest son, I just started missing a bunch of games, whether it be me being on the road as a dad and coaching, and just kind of one of those things. Now it was understood between the two of us that, hey, dad's out coaching, I'm playing. There was no harm there with him, but it was hard on me, not being there for your kid. I mean, you guys have young ones, so you can imagine not being at a game and how much it hurts. Yeah. It's even worse when they're, they get old and they're highly recruited and they're doing all these good things and you can't be there. It's tough. So, I decided in 2020 to, COVID hit, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to come back. I told Texas Wesleyan, I said, man, I'm going to start concentrating on my son. Graduated 2020, and then I watched him play, I would say 90% of his games. Since then, I was able to be there and be a dad, so which was important.
So being a college coach with a son in high school, is there not like a easy path for that opportunity for your son to go to that college because you're recruiting him in a sense?
Yeah, but I was at Texas Wesleyan College, which not a knock on Texas Wesleyan. Sure. It's a great NAIA school. I mean, they compete nationally. They're normally ranked in the top 20 in the country, but he was a little better than that. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, his freshman year in high school, he got recruited by Oklahoma State and was able to commit to them, coming out of his freshman year, and then signed with them, obviously stay committed the entire time, which is hard to do. But did, and was able to sign with them coming out of high school. And, we thought that was the world. It was awesome. Yeah. Right. And, now I obviously haven't gotten away from the game. My fiance and her son is at Odessa Junior College, and we're still chasing baseball. That's what she's doing today. And, I had to stay back. I had a lot of stuff to do for our benefit next week. And so I decided to stay back, and she's there supporting him. So we haven't gotten away from it, that's for sure.
So and this is what Taylor and I talk about a lot is, we're at the early age of where our kids are like still 6 and 4 and 2 and newborns. And a lot of times we're like, man, we can't wait until they are 12 and they go with their friends and they're not as dependent. So you've already seen, the different phases of the kids' growth. Looking back, like, what would be your favorite? Would it be like the early stages where they're so dependent on you, the middle where it's like, hey, they're kind of growing into this person, or the end where it's like, okay, they are the person that, they've grown to be, they've had these accomplishments, everything they've worked for so hard has paid off, and now they're seeing this reward of going to Oklahoma State. So where is that? Because we struggle with it.
Man, it goes fast. I'm telling you, it's hard for me to look back now and go, man, we've already went through this. You blink an eye and it's gone, right? I think my favorite time, obviously with my oldest son, was probably from 9 to 12. And unfortunately for my daughter, she was actually a really good athlete when she was young, but she got to that point to where he got on that elite level pretty quick, and it was about her chasing her brother all over the country, which kind of put her behind, which I feel bad about now. I look back at it and I was like, I wish I would have dedicated a little bit more time. But 9 to 12 was that time where you kind of see the most growth. You see those motor skills really turn. You see their abilities really change. You see their commitment level change. What level do they want to play? Are they a recreational player, or are they a nationally competitor, they're a national competitor? I think that's where you find out where those kids are, where they're going to be. And, I knew at an early age with him, he kind of just had natural ability in sports, which my daughter did as well. We just didn't dial into her as hard, which really sucked for her. But, those ages, I think that's where you're going to figure out which way they want to go, what they want to do, because they start making their own decisions at that point, knowing, hey, I feel like I'm pretty good at this. I want to stick around. Or they go, yeah, this is not for me. I'm bowing out of this deal for sure. So.
You're right.
Well, so that's what my wife and I are struggling with right now, because we have 3, and we're already, 2 of our kids are in sports. I'm a business owner. She has a career, and then just outside of life, or outside of, the day to day, we got friends and all these things. We're like, can we really have 3 kids invested into sports now? Do we get them into all different types of sports, but where does that time fit? That's what we're struggling with. And to your point, your daughter had that impact on her, and you acknowledged it. And that's what we're trying to avoid, because it's we don't want to put so much effort into our 2 oldest kids that our third one is just following them to their practices and stuff and not getting that exposure and that introduction at a young age because we don't have the time. That's what we're struggling with right now. And I'm glad you said that, because sometimes you got to step back, with one kid a little bit. It paid off for you. I'm not saying it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it's a balancing act that I don't think anyone has the perfect answer for it. But just in my shoes, I just wanted to, elaborate on that that is true, because we're kind of battling that right now.
I think you have to find that separation of, it's okay to be apart, from your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it may be. It's okay to take kids separate directions and know that eventually you're going to meet at home and it's going to be okay, right? I think you get so dialed in to feeling like you want to be a family all the time and have to be together, but those kids need to be split up. They need the opportunity to go out and compete on their own and decide to be, because it really gives them a ton of mental toughness moving forward. And, I'm a huge believer in what sports do to people as far as leadership and their mentality of how they're going to grow up and what they're ingrained in every day. And the work ethic is one of those things that you just, a lot of kids can be born with it, depending on who their parents are. But sometimes their parents aren't athletes. They're not those people. So the grind every day, the practices every day that's what gives them that work ethic. You guys know that. You're both athletes at high levels, so you understand how that is. But yeah, you're always going to look back and go, should I have done something different? It doesn't matter how good you think you are. You're going to always look back and go, man, I could have done this a little different.
Yeah. Hey, did that hurt a little bit?
He takes every jab he can.
I know. I've seen it, man. It's
I got you right here, bud.
Thank you.
Look at that, man.
It's the New England Patriot thing. If he wouldn't have done that, there's no way he can kick you in the shins every day, right?
No, because then it's that he played D2 and I didn't play, so it's always something.
Yeah,
it's always something.
You act like I'm bringing this up daily and rubbing it in your face.
No.
Just on Sundays when he's wearing all his New England gear, right? Yeah, just on
jersey.
Sundays.
His
Dude's
jersey.
never a Cowboy fan again. He's obviously a New England fan every day.
No, I'm a Cowboys fan still. Cowboys first, New England second. I was going to ask you, Craig. So with baseball and all that, back in the day, I don't think it's what it is now, right? Growing up and playing Little League baseball,
right?
And it's it's a year round sport now, and it's always been a busy sport recreationally, but now it's just nonstop. We have neighbors that love baseball. Their kids love baseball, and it's year round. They're playing baseball. It's like, do you think, when you're with your oldest, with how much he played baseball then, that maybe hindered or maybe turned him off later on to the sport, where he's like, man, I'm just kind of over this, and it's too much too soon. Like, did you burn him out too quick? Is that a thing, do you think, with baseball? Like, where you're just grinding your kids in a sport that,
Yeah. No, I think that, well, I know for sure, for me per se, it was always a dual sport thing for us. The falls were never a big thing for us when it came to baseball. We might pick up and play here and there just to stay fresh and make sure that we didn't lose anything going into the spring. But football always was a priority when the fall hit, because he played football every single year. So football always was a priority, and basketball. I mean, he played basketball as well. Same with Ryland, same with the middle. He was football, baseball, basketball. So they did it all until they got to high school, and then figured out, these are the two sports I'm better at, which I think both of them played a little bit of high school basketball, but they figured out that they weren't 6'4" and jumping out the gym and doing that. So, but the game has changed. There's no doubt. I mean, the bad thing is, when my kids were going through it, there was a lot of elite teams still nationally at, 12 years old, 13 years old. Now that it's gotten so, focused on people playing year round, that the teams have gotten so watered down. The kids are better than ever, but you're seeing injuries get worse. You're seeing kids that are burning out at an early age. You're seeing all these different factors that come in. And, I don't believe, and I've never believed that playing year round sports was the thing to do. Now, if it's golf or tennis or a sport like that, is a individual type sport, I feel like it's more practice, it's more skill than it is, baseball and football can be very, athletic at times. Yeah. But there are focused things in baseball too, where, hand-eye coordination has got to be through the roof. But I still believe that kids need to get away from baseball after the spring. They need to get it away and play some football.
So do you think that's probably why I stopped playing baseball? I got burnt out too soon? From your experience as my coach, did I have a future in MLB or what?
Well, okay, so we're going to tell a couple of baseball stories with Taylor. First of all, if you knew Taylor when he was little, Taylor was a squirrel, okay? He couldn't pay attention to anything in his life, so he was the biggest kid on the team, strongest kid on the team. There was no doubt. We were putting him in the 4-hole every day, because if he hit the ball, when he hit the ball, he was going to go a long way, and Taylor was going to run them around the bases as fast as anybody could run around the bases. So I think the first time I ever came out there, and Jason goes, man, I got this kid. He's a big kid, man. He can hit the shit out of the ball. I don't know if I can say that here, but anyways, he can hit the shit out of the ball. And I'm like, all right, man, that's exciting. Trevor was a pitcher, good player, played first base. He was a lefty. Yeah, he was a lefty. So which, forbid the lefties. But anyways, I come to practice and I see Taylor, and I'm like, man, that is a big kid. He's strong, and I knew about his football background already, because I think I'd maybe even seen him play a little football. I knew who he was, but he's like, yeah, Taylor's on the team. And I went, okay, well, we get to practice, and I'm like, man, this kid can't pay attention, man. He can't do anything. I put him at third base, man. Dude's a squirrel. Like, dude hits the ball down third baseline. Taylor's over there picking up dirt, wondering what's going on behind him, right? Comes up during BP, man, he's lacing balls in the gap. I'm like, man, this kid can hit, if he'll pay attention. Well, finally I told Jason, I was like, man, I got an idea, man. Why don't we just throw this kid in center field? He may not see the ball come off the bat and catch it, but I guarantee if it's in the gap, dude's going to chase it down as fast as he can and get the ball back in. So that's essentially what we did, is we threw him in the outfield, and he was great for us out there. Taylor was never the best ball player, but just like in football, he had the heart to do everything he wanted to do, right? He was just a squirrel, man. He was just all over the place. I remember him sliding into third base one time, and he looks at me, man, gives me 5, and he's like, now what do I do? I'm like, you just stand here, bud, get a little bit of a lead, and when somebody hits the ball, make sure it gets through and then score. And he's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was kind of Taylor's deal, but I enjoyed coaching those kids, man. We had a great team, won a lot of ball games, and made a lot of good relationships. But
I wish Jason was here. He told me the story. I don't remember it. I guess there was a a play when in a game where I like lead off a second, and then the pitcher looks at me, or the pitcher or somebody has the ball, and like I just goad them into trying to tag me
Oh, yeah.
out, and then I
you're
guess I
deaconing.
ran.
You're going back and forth.
Yeah, I
like
like
this.
ran in between
Yeah.
third and second. Like,
Oh yeah, he was going to beat you to the bag. There was no doubt. I mean, he was going to make you make so many throws that you're going to make a mistake. It should never be more than 2 throws, right? So he was going to make you throw the ball 6 times, and then he was going to get on base.
Well, even now, I mean, I don't know about now, but even in college, you know, he had a good agility. Like even as a linebacker, you know,
Yeah.
his agility going back and forth on that cone drill and everything. So I can compliment you every once in a while. You see?
I mean, let's be honest.
That
I
may
mean,
be the
baseball
first
was not the
compliment.
future.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
Or basketball.
I think.
well, he obviously hates basketball. We've already heard that.
Yeah, I don't
so
care for basketball. Even my son, I guess I speak badly of it often because my son's like, "Hey, Dad, I don't ever want to play basketball. Don't put me in basketball." I was like, "All right, bud, don't worry about it, man." But when it comes to baseball, I think I always said this, like my attention span was never there. I wish I would have been able to settle down, but I think that's why football was my home, because it was physical. You're running every play.
Yep.
You know, there's an objective. Like it just, from a young age, I just.
there's a
bonded with
lot
it.
of downtime in baseball.
Yeah.
A lot of that, especially at that recreational level, man. It's like watching paint dry. I went out a couple of weeks ago and watched a nephew play, and man, it was hard for me to sit there and listen to the parents talk and the way they talk to their kids. And
Yeah.
you know, I was pretty hard on my son growing up, but he played at a little different level. These kids were recreational kids. I feel like maybe playing AA, AAA, 8U. You know, just not very. And they were playing up in kid pitch, and it was just the way the parents talk. And I now look back at it now and go, man, was I that dad?
Well, and that's what we talk about is like, you know, we want to be involved in our kids' growth, and we even say like if our kids play football, we can't imagine anyone else coaching them, you know, because we feel like we're going to be the best coaches. But what we dread the most is going to be like the parents, and we're not at that age yet. Like, I mean, our kids are 6, so
Oh,
they're
it's
not
coming
there
quick.
yet. But yeah, I mean, I coached my daughter for 4 seasons in soccer now, no issues yet. But yeah, that's what I look forward to the least is the parents, and maybe one day I'm gonna be that parent, you know. But I don't want to be, you know. But you do get invested into their growth and their competition and winning and seeing that. But yeah, that's what is kind of wrong with today's.
You'll notice it as they start playing at higher levels. That's where you're going to start seeing the difference, because there's only so many people that can be on the field at one time. And it takes a really good coach to figure out, you know, when you can have 11 players on the field or you can have 9 players on the field, it takes a really good coach to figure out how do you work those other 3 or 4 players you have on your team into the mix without pissing somebody off, you know, because obviously you guys know that. I mean, not everybody has the same ability on the field. And I'm the guy, when you're playing at a high level, you play your best 9 or your best 11 and you roll, right? That's just how it is. And a lot of these parents, they're just unrealistic. I mean, I'd say it all the time when I had my own indoor training facility. I used to say it all the time. I would want to go out, and if it was one thing I could do, it would go out and talk to parents about just being realistic about who your kid is and what they are, and you know what are their true expectations moving forward, going into, you know, whether it be high school or college or whatever it may be. Because some of these parents out there nowadays, man, they're just so unrealistic in what their kids' abilities are, and it's sad. It's really sad.
I think this is a good moment to segue into our favorite segment, what you thinking, what you drinking. And Craig brought us, you know, some of these drinks that we're going to try out here and hash out a little bit more of the details, why Craig's here, you know, what we're here to promote and hopefully grow this upcoming weekend. How many you got in here?
Yeah, there's plenty in there. I brought them just so that I could make sure that you guys kind of
What's the best flavor, do you know?
I like the raspberry ones are really good. And I know this sounds kind of weird from a male perspective, but you know, normally I'm a Coors Light drinker. I got a friend out of Waxahachie, his name's Corey Robinson, that kind of put me onto these because he got kind of tired of drinking beer. He owns an insurance company in Waxahachie, like business insurance, and he owns Hot Works in Waxahachie as well. Well, he kind of turned me on to these, and I thought, man, he said, hey, they're John Daly's, you know. No, I think I'm good right now.
I'm gonna try this peach
But
one.
John Daly's Good Boys. I mean, everybody wants to live the life of John Daly every now and then, right? So I thought, man, what the hell? I'm gonna bring them out and let these guys taste them. And it's now here's the thing. They're dangerous
Yeah.
because they don't have the fizz in them. They don't have, all that. It's just
It says made with real vodka, the Good Boy vodka, John Daly. Grip it or rip it.
it's a good one.
Ooh, that's pretty good. This is a great summertime drink for
No
sure.
doubt. And I always drink it on ice because I feel like it makes me drink them a little slower. If you just drink them out of the cans, you're gonna drink 6.
And
in
you're right.
30
There is no
minutes.
fizz to it. It's like smooth.
No.
It's almost like you're drinking tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you wanted to down something, that would be the one to down because you're not gonna have that burp
Yeah.
effect at the end,
Yeah.
right? But normally, I'm the guy that's gonna probably drink 12 beers Coors Lights while we're sitting here doing this.
yeah.
Figured I'd bring this today and let you guys see what you thought, anyways.
Yeah. Let me shout out to the cooler also. Like it's one of
You
these.
like that?
Oh, I love it because it's like your old dog thing. Like
Yeah.
Joe, cooler guy, brought his own cooler.
That's it, man.
Jason, you, and it's you come in, you ready to rock. It's an old school, igloo cooler.
Yeah.
Cost you $5 back in the day, and it's lasted you 20 years.
Man, I just bought another one the other day at Target. Actually, Katie bought it, but I was like, man, this is a badass little cooler. We were in Odessa watching ball games, and we bought this little thing. It doesn't hold as much as that one, so I always bring that one.
Yeah.
Right? But, yeah, you can't go wrong, man. You got all these Yetis. They're so heavy to carry around. I'm like, man, screw that. I'm bringing my old igloo,
Yeah.
But
So we have a koozie here tonight. Big night in the city. We got some hats right up here. You're wearing a hat. Talk to us a little bit about this, Craig. Like, what is it? What's it for? When's the event?
yeah, sure. It's so about 4 to 5 years ago, my uncle passed away from Alzheimer's. And I was able to, actually, I'll tell the little backstory. I won't try to make it too long, but I went to a Josh Weathers concert. And Josh Weathers, big Texas country artist, a great human being, good Christian guy. And he has a big nonprofit foundation where he builds schools and everything overseas. Just a great human. And I'm watching his concert, and he's telling his story on stage. And I looked at Katie and I said, man, you know what? I said, I feel like I need to do something, I need to do something different. I need to open a nonprofit. And of course she looks at me and she's like, yeah, whatever. What are you going to do it for? And I said, Alzheimer's. She's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So, I think the last song he played was called Big Night in the City, and great song of his. And so the next week, man, I went straight into, I'm opening this nonprofit. I'm going to prove everybody wrong. Like, this is my deal. And I did. I opened it. I went to LegalZoom, man. I opened a 501c3 for Alzheimer's, and I named it Big Night in the City, just, off of, behind what Josh Weathers was doing. He was kind of my inspiration. Obviously, my uncle having Alzheimer's was going through that was the biggest thing. And knowing that I felt like I needed to give back in some way. So, I started putting on an event, man. That next week, I started planning it. It was just me and, a couple of friends. I put a little board together, and we kind of went into it hard, man, because we rented out a facility in Waxahachie, and we had to bring in the sound. The only thing that was there was the stage and the lighting. We had to bring in the sound. We had to, sign the musician, and luckily our first artist was Josh Weathers. We signed him to do our first event, which was really cool. And so we got everything together, and Josh, did a great job. All the people, underneath him, all the support, artists did a great job. And I'm lucky enough to have those guys again there with me this year, and have been with me for the last few years. And I think we gave back about $5,000 or $6,000 that first year. And Union 28, which was a huge, support people for us. They were just kind of getting up on their feet at that time. And they did all of our alcohol sales, all of our beverages, did the VIP tent, did it, all that kind of different stuff. Corey Robinson did barbecue, which, one of his best friends is Matt Pittman with Me Church. So they kind of, they all kind of do that stuff together. So he did the VIP cooking, and it was a great event for me to be able to give that back that first year. And it was, for me, it was about growth. And, last year we moved it to Union 28. We had Roger Krieger. I think we had about 1,100 people. First year, I think we had about 600, six to 700. And then last year we had 11 with Roger Krieger, and we raised somewhere between 15 and 20 grand last year. And, over the years, we've kind of been trying to figure out how to use that money. And the last couple of years, we've just kind of written a check back to Alzheimer's.com. And that was kind of the only thing I really knew what to do. Right. I mean, I didn't know what else to do. So, but I do know that when we moved my uncle, me and my sister, my sister, God bless her, she was such a saint during that whole ordeal, because we were kind of my aunt and uncle's kids. My aunt had just passed away not long before. And so it was just us. We didn't know what to do. And we put him in a memory care facility. And obviously he had the money, but we had to forward all the money to figure out how to get him in, what to do. And man, it's a lot of money. It takes a lot for a family member to be able to take their significant other, whoever that may be, and put them in a facility and go, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
And it just costs a lot of money. So I think we're transitioning now to where we're not just going to stroke a check to Alzheimer's.com. We're going to work with facilities here in Ellis County is my goal for this. The rest of this year is to meet with these facilities and say, hey, how can we help these families that want to get in, that don't have the money to do it right away, but we want to write a check. We want to give them a grant to be able to get in and get these people
And
going.
get it to the people who need it, not just a facility.
Absolutely. So we're planning our third event. We started planning it it was actually a little bit too late, but it all came together really quick. We started right around the beginning of the year, really struggled with trying to find an artist that could do it. On a Saturday night is just hard, man, because as artists nowadays, just want a lot of money.
Yeah.
And my booking agent, Heather, has been great for us. She's been amazing for our organization. We were able to sign Stoney LaRue for actually May 4th, this next Sunday. And I think we've pre-sold already about 650 tickets. And, I was against doing it on a Sunday, but now she's going to prove me wrong. And it's probably going to be something that's going to stick, here moving forward.
Yeah.
But just to be able to give back and to, the community that we live in, and to see the amount of people that are affected by the disease has been incredible. And the outpouring of sponsorships and people that it seems like everybody that sponsors are people that have been hit by the disease, and it's rough. So, like I tell everybody when they get to the show, it's like, I want to hear their stories. I want to hear your story, and, we'll talk about, whatever you want to talk about, but we're excited about May 4th, and hopefully it's going to be the biggest year we've had. I think coming in, I think I've told you already, we've raised close to $30,000.
Nice.
Before we even come in the door. So we're excited about that and what that day is going to bring.
Now, if you want tickets, can you just show up to Union 28, or you have to pre-order?
No, you can pre-order. I believe it's on Stubwire. You can go to my Facebook, or you can go to, which is under Craig Sumbler. That's just my name. Or you can go to Union 28's Facebook. You can just scroll through and you'll see the Stubwire link to be able to get there to buy tickets. There's a few tables that they just added, I think, for sponsorship tables, and they're obviously have some vendors they're trying to get on as well. I think we have 4 or 5 vendors already, and we are looking forward to hopefully, selling more GA. I mean, I think that general admission I think it's $15 to get in, so it's not a big deal, but there'll be a silent auction, there'll be 50-50 raffles, there'll be, like I said, vendors. It'll be a good day, good music. We've got, obviously Stoney LaRue headlining, Hayden Wigington, the main supportive Midlothian kid. And his dad used to be the head coach here at Midlothian Heritage. He's blowing up on the scene. Hill Country Revival, which will be all full band. And then we'll have Colin Stone, which is another Midlothian kid, Cody Oliphant, and then Ethan Pacheco. That'll be coming in and playing acoustic. So
Nice.
Should be a long day of music. We'll start around 1, and I think Stoney will come on somewhere around 5 o'clock, and we'll finish somewhere around 6:30.
Yeah.
So should be a long day of music and a good day.
Kevin, have you ever heard of Stoney LaRue?
I mean, dude, I love Stoney. So I went to Tarleton State,
Yeah.
huge country. Larry Joe Taylor's there, the music festival
Going on right now.
It is. It's usually April. Yeah, you're right. I went four or five straight years, and back in the day, one of my favorite songs was Oklahoma. Was it Breakdown?
Breakdown. That's
Oklahoma
it.
Breakdown from
Yeah.
Sonny LaRue. I still every once in a while, I'm out here, drinking a few beers. I'll throw on some Stoney
Crank
for
it up a little
sure.
bit.
Yeah. So, I'll definitely do everything I can to get to run it by the wife and the
Yeah.
3 kids and see if I
Hey
can
man,
get
it's
out
a
on
family
Sunday.
affair. Now I don't know, your kids are a little young, so I don't know if
Yeah.
they can last that long. But
Oh, they
You come a
they
little
love
later.
Union, man. And that's
Yeah.
the cool thing about Union is that you can take your family out there, feel comfortable. Kids are out there playing, So
Yeah.
I think I can manage something for sure.
Yeah, my daughter, her freshman year, went to Tarleton, and throwing back on all the music or all the athletic stuff, right? We have that relationship now to where it's music. We enjoy that together, and so now we're on the back end of we have this different relationship now where
Yeah.
we like to hang out, we like to go see music, we like to do all
Cool.
these different things together. And she did Tarleton for a year and decided that she wanted to come back home. She went really young, so
Yeah.
she's back now and doing cosmetology school and doing her thing, but she still loves music. We
Oh yeah.
go out and see it as many places as we can, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
nothing better than live music.
Right. Absolutely.
All right, well, we're back.
So, with the Batty Daddy brand, what we try to focus on is obviously being a father first.
Yep.
A bro, So when we say brother, it's just being a bro on the weekends, right? Golfing, throwing cornhole bags, just getting together. And luckily for us, our kids are all the same age between him and I, and then our group of friends. So being a bro on the weekends is kind of a little easier because it could be kid's birthday party or whatever the case may be. We just get together and hang out. What does it look like for you on the weekends right now with, at this age, with your kids at their age, what is being a bro on the weekend for you? Like, how does that look like? Is it just hanging out with fiance,
Yeah.
or what does that look like just being a bro?
Well, what we have, I think one thing that changes, like you just mentioned, when you have kids that are the same age, it's very easy to keep those high school relationships or college relationships, whatever they may be. It's pretty easy to keep those because you have so much more in common. When you get away from that, that's when it's tough to be friends. Like I probably hang out with, man, from high school, maybe 2 or 3 guys that I really hang out with all the time. And I say all the time, maybe once or twice a month. The people that have turned into my friends are more, family related friends, people that we've picked up as we've gotten older and we just enjoy doing the same things together. Now that we're out of that kid phase, and our kids are all in college, it's kind of like you're in a whole different, now you're trying to find your forever friends of, your forever bros, your forever sisters, whatever it may be. You're trying to find those people. And luckily, we keep a pretty small circle. We have a ton of acquaintances, a lot of people I call friends, but my best friends are probably, a circle of about 15 people, 15, 16 people. And we hang out. We do try to meet for dinners a lot. We hang out, go to Union 28. We'll go find concerts to go to. We'll go to Billy Bob's. We'll, whatever it may be, but we seem to always come back to music for us. We love to do it. And the friends that we hang out with a lot love to do it. My best friend in the world that, I grew up with since I was in 7th grade, he's got a kid that's, he's probably a little bit older than y'all's kids, but not much. So he's back on that grind of weekend tournaments and doing all that. Well, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
So we try to find weekends. Now we do have 5 dogs, so it makes it tough to, it's almost like having kids again because you got to find somebody to come watch it.
Yeah.
But like I said, if we get away and we do things like that, it's normally based around music or an athletic event. But yeah, no, it's great that you guys had that opportunity to, be around each other a lot because you have kids that are the same age doing the same things.
Yeah.
And you'll probably keep that relationship for that reason. For a long time. And those are the best ones, to be honest with you. You think about it when you go away from this world, you think about who's going to say something about me, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. Well, those are the people you find later in life sometimes, not just the guys that you met in high school.
Well, you think it's like, I say this because, Jason, Doug, you, like y'all are still, I would say, relatively close. You know, I don't know how much y'all communicate, but like close friends, and y'all prolong that friendship after high school. Like, is it an old, I guess, thing where maybe it's an old Red Oak thing where like you kind of have a click for a long time, you know, because not a lot of people hang out or maintain friendships after high school. You know, you kind of go your separate ways.
Yeah.
Life takes a hold, and you just never see them again. And
Well, you say that. So it's like, for instance, like Doug and I were friends all the way through high school, right? He's my age. Well, Jason was a lot older than us. And once I moved out of high school and got into that transition period of having a family and doing that kind of thing, Jason became, I wouldn't say a better friend to me. He became a friend that was around me a lot more. And I would even say today, yeah, Doug and I, we may talk once a year or message once a year. But Jason and I have been the one that has probably connected more over the years. So it's just different, man. I think the family dynamic, you know, where you live, what you're doing, you know, every day. I think it's just, you know, Doug's in that Dallas Cowboy world, you know, where it's tying him up all the time.
Yeah.
Jason's a local. So anytime I get a chance to see him, it's just like we're right back in that same mode again. Like you said, he's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be with him and not feel like you hadn't been around him for the last 10 years.
When do you think Doug is going to fire Jerry Jones?
Hey, man. As long as one of you guys can take over, I'll be happy. Somebody, please. Lord have mercy. I mean, you know what? I'm watching that draft yesterday, and I thought for sure, I'm like, man, they're going to take Shedeur Sanders right here just to do it. I mean, because you never know, right?
Yeah. That's a Jerry Jones move.
Yeah.
Just like when Manziel was on the board. I thought for sure he was taking Manziel. Because he just, that's who he is. He's that guy.
You know, and being an A&M fan, I'd have been all about it. I'd been like, yeah, let's take him. Let's go. I'm going on the ride.
Yeah. I mean, is there anybody that would have like benefited more from the NIL now than Johnny Football back in the day? I mean, he made me a A&M fan for, you know, this two seasons.
I think he just made everybody a fan of college football.
Yeah, it was
right? He was
fun.
just that guy, man, to watch every weekend. And like, I'm tuning in to see him regardless of what's going on today, which I love college football outside of NFL. I mean, I'd much rather sit down on a Saturday and watch college football all day long than watch an NFL game on a Sunday. It's just what I enjoy doing.
I'm gonna give my 2 cents on Johnny Manziel. I didn't like him when he was in college because he was partying all the time. When I say partying, like not going out and getting fucked up on the weekends whenever you're post game, like just partying, like, you know, drugs, all that stuff. And I hate wasted talent.
Yeah.
There's nothing more I hate than wasted talent. So I remember back in the day, I was like, I didn't care for him because you have a golden opportunity. You're in the best situation just to be successful. Just get your shit together and do what you do. He never did. And then I saw that documentary, 2-3 years back, and it validated my original feelings about him because it's like, dude, you're complaining about getting paid millions of dollars and being the most recognized athlete in the sport, and you don't know how to handle that? Like, I can't, that shit does not resonate with me. I have no sympathy for people like that. Like, I despise him because I look at myself, if I was ever in that boat, or if my feet were in those shoes, I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say here. I would never take that for granted, you know, and that's what I think I despise him for. It's like he took it for granted, and all you had to do was just go to work, man. Like,
Study.
yeah, like just, dude, you have a golden opportunity in front of you, and you could not drink, you could not smoke, you could not be an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Could you imagine if he would have played the game not like a blacktop basketball player and studied every day? I mean, could you imagine what the guy would be? I mean, he's the biggest bust, largest athlete probably the best athlete to be a bust ever, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Is he a bust though, or is he? Because he didn't like come out and just like. Well, I guess he is a bust, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
but he wasn't
Heisman
drafted
Trophy
number one overall, so he's not like a Ryan Leaf bust, you know.
But Ryan Leaf didn't have the talent he had either.
He had the arm talent, and the brains between the ears, but you know Ryan Leaf coached at WT.
Yeah,
He got in that whole pill scandal happened up in Canyon, Texas, man. I'll never forget. We used to do freshman volleys, and you remember that ESPN clip where he's in the locker room and he gets pissed off, he's yelling at reporters. With some of my freshman class, they reenact that in front of Ryan Leaf. He gets pissed off and walks outside in the hallway. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're on the wrong side of history, but at what point do you just look back and laugh at it? You know,
man,
like
I mean,
you kind of take it with a grain of salt, and you're just like, man, like I'm looking back now. That's kind of funny. That was me that was out there that people still watch.
who was your favorite baseball player growing up? Who did you want to like chameleon yourself?
you know,
These
my
boys
oldest.
are hitting.
Well,
You
give
know,
us another one.
As a young kid, I really liked Kirby Puckett. I mean, that was my old school guy, right? As I was growing up as a little kid, because I wanted to hit like him.
Was he a lefty?
No, he's a righty. He's a
Okay.
little chubby righty,
Yeah,
man.
just
Played
chubby
center
for
field.
sure.
And, I think at an early age, I was a little chubby, and I was like, man, he kind of looks like me. I want to be like that guy. And then obviously I started being a catcher, and Pudge Rodriguez was my idol by far, and he's probably my favorite player to ever play the game. And I just idolized the guy. I thought he was amazing. Coming in the league at 17 years old and doing what he did was incredible. You see all these guys now that it's crazy the money that's going on. If you want to make money, that's where to be.
Yeah.
A place to be for sure.
Is it true that you compared me to Josh Hamilton whenever I played Little League Baseball? Or
I mean, the distance on the ball was comparable. The swing was a little different. The wheels were close, and I would hope that you weren't at a bar jumping through stalls trying to find women and getting kicked out in between, after a good ball game. But those things might be comparable. But so let me ask you guys this, man. When you think about it, man, obviously you're growing your brand, Batty Daddy, right? You're growing your brand.
what do you think? Hold on. What do you think about the name?
I think it's pretty damn cool. I mean, I've never heard of it. So I thought, when you told me about it, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. I need to get on that train and kind of see what's going on. But what would you guys, I mean, I would love to, I'm growing my brand, you're growing yours. I mean, no matter if it's a nonprofit or not, it's still a brand, it's still a business. Would love to have you guys come. It might be short notice, obviously, for next Sunday, but maybe our next event, maybe in the fall or next summer, we bring you guys out and you can have your own tent set up and maybe, interview some people, do a live deal, maybe go live. We don't record, we go live and it is what it is. What gets said, said, and there's some stories told, and hopefully we can get some artists to come over and talk to you guys as well and do some interviews with those guys. We'd love to have you.
If it's Zach Bryan, you may need to get a restraining order on this guy.
No.
Zach Bryan or Co Wetzel, which one is your favorite right now? Are you
I would
listening to
definitely
them?
go. I like both of them. I definitely would go Cole Wetzel first. But I do listen to a lot of Zach Bryan, not kind of forcefully sometimes, but I'm on the Texas country train, man. I like the Cole Wetzels, the Hudson Westbrooks, the Ty Myers, the new guys are really good. I like the old cats, Kevin Fowler, Roger Krieger. Zach Bryan's a little different, man. He's a little different character,
He's got great lyrics, man.
Yeah.
And
he does.
I went to a Zach Bryan concert, and I'm telling you, best concert I've ever been to. Just from energy, the crowd, everybody knew his songs. Like, it's and the crazy thing is, like, this guy's just exploded in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Just from YouTube.
And he's an Army guy.
Yeah.
He had to leave the Army because he was getting so many people off of social media to come to bases and stuff that they told him, look, we'll give you honorable discharge if you'll just go away. Yeah, it's either, hey, you're going to commit yourself to be in the Army or we'll give you an honorable discharge to go play music.
That's badass.
And, great for him, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I have been called the lyrical miracle in my generation. The bad thing is about that is I don't remember all the lyrics all the time.
Yeah.
And I get told that every day.
Yeah.
Like when I sing a song in the car, they're like, you always mess up the lyrics. I'm like, mine are better. I'm trying to tell people my lyrics are better, man.
Wait, did you karaoke that one night?
Man, probably. You know, I won a karaoke contest. Now they'll tell you that the only reason that I won it was because that they went inside and told everybody to vote for me, but I don't believe that. You know, I sing "Kiss Me in the Dark" by Randy Rogers. It's on, man. Hey, it's a banger. I'm going to work.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I won it. Yeah, I won it, man. I got $100. I gave it to my waitress, and you know, that's just part of what it is, man. They're jealous.
I tell you right now, my biggest fear is karaoke. I don't know.
Is it? Oh, you got to do it.
I would
man.
love to do it, but I don't like being bad at anything, and I don't like embarrassing myself. So that's my biggest two fears. So I got to sing a song that I feel like I could sing it, even poorly. I sound good in my head.
Yeah.
I need the earpieces, and I
In
probably
the shower, just sounding good with the echo and everything, right?
I'd probably sing the song, "Baby, turn them lights and turn the lights down low."
Okay, you hit that. See, when you hit that note.
Okay,
See?
so your next event, is he a headliner or no?
We'll let him open up, man. We'll let him open, and
there
then
you
maybe
go.
we'll get him as a headliner, you know, down the road. How about that? We'll
work
start. We'll start slow.
Well, we've talked about like doing a live podcast. We want to go to 2 places we have on the to-do list, but we got to figure out. It's still a work in progress, but you know, we appreciate you following, supporting, taking time out of your day to be here, man. And you know, big night in the city. It sounds awesome. I haven't seen Stoney LaRue in like 7 years, so I'm excited to go to it.
Well, I'm hoping he's going to show up and do a great job. He'll be coming off of a 3-night deal, so it'll be 4 nights in a row for him. So we're hoping that it's going to be good. We've got some mutual friends together that hopefully they've talked about it, and he knows what he's coming into. So, but I can't thank you guys enough for having me and let me talk about, you know, our organization and big night in the city and what we got coming up Sunday. We hope to have, you know, get this thing out there before and hopefully bring some people in, man. If you guys are there, you let me know, come hang out, and we'll have a great time and just listen to music and a lot of brotherhood and a lot of people to be able to talk and tell stories, and it'll be a great day for sure.
It was a great time, man. It was a great episode. It's great to get to know you on a deeper level than just, you know, as my former coach and, you know, someone we run into, we're drinking, acting like idiots. But
hey, man, one of my favorite little leaguers ever, man. I mean, throw it out there, you know,
Hey.
New England Patriot, and then little league favorite, and then I got my high school quarterback.
Hey, I still got Nacho King Award and hardest hitter. I got him framed.
That's it.
I got
mean,
him
Nacho
framed.
King.
I don't know if I.
You're still
That's a
Nacho
Jason
King.
A-Lot special.
Yeah,
I
that
know he
sounds
gave
about
me.
right. Yeah.
I know he gave me
You're
that.
still-
Well, what you guys are doing is amazing, man. I'm just keep bringing people in that can tell their stories and do their thing, and you know, love to come back and hang out sometime again, man. It's been
100%.
great.
100%.
For sure.
Yes. All right, man. Batty daddy.
Daddy.
Batty daddy, baby. Babby daddy. Batty daddy.